Imagine sitting in class, bored and scrolling through your phone, when suddenly the principal's voice cuts through the loudspeaker, urgent and panicked. This is not a drill. Lockdown now. Lights flicker and go out. Chairs scrape across the floor. Your heartbeat pounds so loud it drowns out everything else. Then you hear footsteps, shouting, maybe even screaming, coming closer, and you realize you're trapped. Tonight, I'll take you inside 3 true, terrifying school lockdowns, where every second felt like a lifetime, and danger was closer than anyone could imagine. It was a regular Friday, 7th period, the last class before freedom. Spring break was almost here, and everyone in my calculus class was restless. Our usually laid-back teacher decided to let us play a brand logo quiz online. Laughter, teasing, and jokes filled the room, creating a false sense of security. Then, suddenly, the dean's voice erupted through the loudspeaker, sharp and panicked. "This is not a drill." Lockdown now. My stomach dropped. The teacher, who usually joked and laughed with us, froze. He quickly turned off the lights and herded us to the back corner of the room. The familiar classroom transformed into a dark, silent cage. Shadows stretched across the walls, and every creak of the floor sounded like a threat. Then came the screaming. A man, his voice raw and unhinged, ran down the hallway. 2 girls began crying uncontrollably. My heart raced, and I felt an icy chill run down my spine. The pounding on the lockers grew louder. "I'll kill all of you!" he screamed. The sound moved from the hallway to our classroom door. One of the girls screamed in terror. The fear was suffocating. For what felt like an eternity, we stayed in darkness, whispering prayers under our breaths, clinging to each other silently. Eventually, the man moved down the hall. The dean came on the loudspeaker again, explaining that the intruder had assaulted a staff member and fled. No one knew if he had a weapon. Later, a janitor found him sleeping in a storage closet, a .44 Magnum sticking out of his pocket. By the time the police arrived, he was gone. To this day, the uncertainty haunts us. It was a rainy, overcast day in early October. My school had 2 lunch periods. During the first, 4 loud booms shook the campus. At first, I thought it was thunder, but screams erupted from students, and chaos followed. Campus security rushed everyone into the multi-purpose room, forcing us to abandon our lunch trays. The room was enormous, with a wall of glass facing the campus. Security covered the windows, and adults guarded every exit. Panic spread like wildfire. My friend Eric asked one of the adults what was happening. The answer sent shivers down our spines. A mentally unstable man had barricaded himself near the school, threatening to commit suicide and claiming he would kill police if they approached. He was watching the kids. He was also a registered sex offender. We spent over an hour trapped in that room, hearing rain tapping on the roof, students whispering fears, and the occasional distant siren. Every second stretched endlessly. My mind kept replaying stories I had heard before about him, including one where he had written threatening messages in his own blood. That Halloween memory returned vividly, chilling me to the bone. By the time the lockdown ended, we were escorted back to our classrooms, shaken and exhausted. The man never came near, but the fear lingered. Even ordinary moments, like walking across campus or opening a locker, felt charged with tension. It was a sharp reminder of how fragile safety can be and how quickly it can be stripped away. After graduating college, I returned to my old high school as a computer intern. The basement office was a small haven, air conditioning, desks, servers, and a flat-screen TV. It was comfortable, almost luxurious compared to the rest of the school. But one day, that comfort vanished. A call came. Lockdown. Someone possibly armed is in the school. I turned off the lights and crouched in the shadows. My office had no door, and the basement entrance didn't lock. I texted my co-workers, but no one replied. Every minute felt like hours. Then, the basement door creaked. Footsteps approached, slow and deliberate. My pulse pounded in my ears. A man grabbed my arm. "It's okay, I'm hiding too," he whispered. Relief washed over me. But then, I checked my phone. A text from my coworker Dave read, "Some guy shot Mr. Buckley. Red shirt, red hat. Don't go upstairs." My stomach dropped. A gunshot suddenly echoed through the basement, ricocheting off metal. I dove for cover, heart hammering. I scrambled upstairs as fast as I could. Police intercepted the intruder at every exit. Miraculously, Mr. Buckley survived, but the fear, the raw, suffocating panic, would never leave me. Every sound, every shadow from that day is etched in my memory. Even now, the memory of that gunshot echoes in my mind, a chilling reminder of how quickly life can turn from normal to deadly. Horrifying isn't just the danger, it's how ordinary life can turn deadly in seconds. Classrooms, lunchrooms, and offices that once felt safe became traps. The fear wasn't just external, it invaded minds, making students and staff hyper-aware of every sound, every shadow, every movement. Heart rates skyrocketed, adrenaline surged, and rational thinking often froze. Even when lockdowns ended safely, the psychological impact remained. Students and staff had to relearn how to feel safe, how to trust their environment, and how to cope with the lingering trauma. These are not tales from a movie. They are true, real-life events, and the terror is very real. Some nights feel different. The air turns heavy, the fog creeps low, and the world falls silent, as if it's waiting for something. In October, the line between the living and the dead becomes thin, and those who wander too far might cross it without knowing. 3 stories, 3 encounters, a pumpkin farm lost in the mist, a man who followed from the shadows, and a knock in the night that should never have been answered. This is Hidden Fears. I grew up in a small, quiet town surrounded by farmland and fog. There wasn't much to do, just long drives down empty roads and old houses that looked half abandoned. One gray October afternoon, my girlfriend Lydia and I decided to take a random drive. We followed a narrow dirt road until we saw a crooked wooden sign that read, "Pumpkin picking, this way." It pointed toward a small farmhouse sitting alone in the mist. Behind it stretched a wide pumpkin patch, glowing faintly orange beneath the fog. On the porch sat an elderly couple smiling kindly at us. The woman waved and said, "Pick any pumpkin you want, dear. They're free." We laughed, thinking it was a sweet gesture, and walked into the patch. The air was damp and cold, the ground soft under our shoes. Most pumpkins were small or rotting, but near the back, Lydia found a perfect one, round, heavy, and bright orange. I lifted it and carried it back to the porch, but the couple was gone. Their rocking chairs were still swaying gently, as if someone had just stood up. I called out, but no one answered. Lydia whispered that we should leave, so we got back in the car. As I turned to drive away, a man came running from behind the house shouting, "Hey, "What the hell are you doing here?" he yelled. I told him the older couple said we could take a pumpkin. His face went pale. "What couple?" he said slowly. "I live here alone." We froze. The only sound was the wind pushing through the cornfields. He made us put the pumpkin back and warned us never to return. We drove off in silence, the fog thickening around us. A week later, my brother stopped by the same farm. The same man was there. When asked if his parents lived with him, the man frowned. "I don't have any family," he said. To this day, I can still see the two figures smiling from the porch, their faces fading into the mist. And every October, when the fog rolls in over the fields, I wonder if they're still there, waiting for someone else to stop. It was the weekend before Halloween when my best friend Ethan invited me to a party at his house. His parents were away, and his older sister Sabrina was supposed to be in charge, but that never stopped us before. The night was cold, the streets glowing orange from scattered jack-o'-lanterns. When I arrived, the place was already packed, music, laughter, and chaos filling every corner. After an hour, I was ready to head home, but Ethan begged me to stay a bit longer. Before leaving, one of the girls asked if I could grab drinks from the basement. I agreed. The stairs creaked as I went down. The air was colder, heavier. I found the fridge and opened it, then heard a quiet voice behind me say, "Boo." I spun around. A tall man stood there wearing a long black cloak. He smiled too wide. "I'm Mark," he said, the host's cousin. Something about him felt off. His grin didn't reach his eyes. I mumbled a quick, "Nice to meet you," and hurried back upstairs. Later, I walked home to Ethan's place and crashed on his basement couch. The house was silent. But 15 minutes later, I woke up to a loud crash upstairs. Footsteps followed, slow, heavy. Then, the basement door creaked open. A figure stepped halfway down the stairs. The dim light from above revealed his face. Mark. He stood there, breathing slowly, watching the room. Then he turned and left, closing the door behind him. I grabbed my phone and whispered to 911. 10 minutes later, red and blue lights flickered through the basement window. The police found him, hiding under Sabrina's bed. No one knew who he was. He wasn't anyone's cousin. He wasn't even invited. Security cameras later showed him following me home after the party, walking just far enough behind to stay hidden. He must have lost me when I went inside and decided to stay. That night changed something in me. I stopped going to random parties, because sometimes what you meet in the dark isn't a stranger. It's someone who's already decided you're next. It was mid-October when my wife Claire and I rented a small cabin in the Catskills for a quiet weekend away. The host, Margaret, left the key in a lockbox and welcomed us by text. The cabin was perfect. Warm lights, wooden walls, and silence thick enough to feel. That afternoon, we hiked a trail near Overlook Mountain and met a woman named Melanie. She looked to be in her 50s, friendly but strange, asking where we were staying. Claire told her about the cabin, not thinking much of it. Melanie smiled and said she knew the area well. That night, rain began to fall. We curled up to watch a movie, half asleep, when there came a sudden knock at the door. 3 sharp hits that echoed through the woods. We froze. Then, another knock. Louder. Through the window came a soft woman's voice. "Please, I need help." My stomach turned cold. I texted Margaret asking if she was nearby. She called immediately, whispering, "I'm home. Don't open the door." Then came the sound of the window lock rattling. Someone was trying to get in. I peeked through the blinds just enough to see, not 1, but two people standing in the dark, a woman and a man, still, watching. We called 911. It took almost 20 minutes for the police to arrive. When the lights appeared through the trees, the figures vanished into the woods. The officers found footprints circling the cabin, and one of them matched a woman's hiking boots. I'll never forget her face. Melanie, the woman from the trail. She wasn't hiking alone that day. She was hunting. Which story kept you up the most? The pumpkin farm, the man in the basement, or the knock at the cabin? Let me know in the comments below. If you love true horror like this, hit subscribe, turn on the bell, and join the Hidden Fears community. Because here, the fear isn't fiction, it's real.